Well, hello, lovely people. It's Belinda here at Aligned Chiropractic, and today I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about a very common condition in this country called hypothyroidism. Now, what that means is low thyroid function, and it's more common than people realize. It's often missed on diagnosis, or when a diagnosis is made, it's often a very long way down the track. So, hypothyroidism, what is it? Well, it's low thyroid function. And what that means is for some reason, your thyroid isn't doing its job properly of regulating your metabolism. Now, your thyroid literally runs everything in the body, including controlling your heart rate, to how you process food and extract energy from that. So, it's really important on every single level. So, if your thyroid isn't functioning properly, this is going to affect your health in a number of ways. And some of the symptoms might include these. And this is not an exhaustive list, but these are very, very common symptoms. So, we're looking at a lack of energy, looking at muscular aches and pains. You might have memory loss or brain fog. You might have brittle hair, brittle nails. You may have a sensitivity to cold. You might feel generally weak in all your limbs. You may have weight gain or have an inability to lose weight. You could suffer with anxiety, depression, dry skin, and the list goes on and on. So it affects your health in a number of ways. Now, one of the other important things to bear in mind too is that if your thyroid function is low, this is also going to have a big impact on your immune system. So it's so important that this area of your health is working correctly. So what is it all about really? What does the thyroid gland do? Well, it's a little gland that sits around here in your neck, in your throat, and it produces a hormone called thyroxine. Now, the hormone that it produces isn't biologically active until it's converted to another type of thyroxine, and this is called T3. So the conversion happens between T4, which is biologically inactive, to T3, which is biologically active, and your body can actually start to do something with it. Now, your thyroid is also controlled by a little part of the brain which produces something called thyroid stimulating hormone. So your brain will tell the thyroid what to do and when to release thyroxine. Now, providing your thyroid is working correctly, then the brain will release just the right amount of thyroid stimulating hormone in order for the thyroid to release just the right amount of thyroxine. And if there's no problem with conversion, then the right amount of thyroxine will be converted into T3, and then this will go about and do its job properly in the body. So there's a number of pathways that can go wrong here. So you may have a problem with your pituitary, which is a part of the brain. So you may not be getting the right signals to the thyroid. Your thyroid itself might be the problem in that it's not producing the right amount of thyroxine. And then there could be a problem with the conversion of T4 to T3. Now, here's where things go wrong in terms of late diagnosis or an inability to diagnose a thyroid problem. And that is the level of testing that is involved. It's very limited. If somebody has any of those symptoms, their first port of call is going to generally be their GP. But they're going to check just one thing as far as thyroid markers go, and that's your thyroid stimulating hormone. That does not give the whole picture, and you can often have a very normal reading here, yet you are suffering with a low thyroid problem because a lot of the other markers haven't been checked. Now, two of the most common causes of low thyroid function are autoimmunity, so something called Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune condition, will affect the thyroid and create hypothyroidism. The other thing is iodine deficiency. Now, both of these situations are very, very common. the autoimmune part of a hypothyroid problem is never checked at the beginning. And it may be that you're a long way down the road before antibodies to check for autoimmunity are checked at your GP surgery. Now, the other thing that's never checked is iodine sufficiency. And this is one of the biggest issues that we face because your thyroid requires two things in order to make thyroxine in the first place. One is something called tyrosine, which is an amino acid, and the other is iodine. And if you're deficient in either, then your thyroid is not going to be able to produce thyroxine. So here's the thing. Iodine is not something that we get readily in our diet. When you think about it, we don't have a diet that's made up of seaweed or seafood, which is a great source of iodine. Now, where are we going to get it from? Well, this is the question. The other thing to consider is that iodine is called or classed as a halogen. Other halogens include chlorine and bromine. Now, these two things, and fluoride for that matter. Now, fluoride is very regularly used in our environment, namely through toothpaste, but it can also be found in water. Chlorine is found very commonly in water. Now, the receptor sites on your thyroid are very much all the halogens very much compete in order to get a position on the receptor sites of your thyroid. So if there's insufficient iodine, then if there's abundant chlorine or abundant fluoride, then those are the things that are going to jump right in there and sit on the receptor sites of the thyroid. So without iodine, you're not going to be able to produce thyroxine. So this is a real problem in terms of diagnosing where the insufficiency lies with your thyroid function. So here's some of the things that should get checked when you're assessing a thyroid function. First of all, your blood test should look at a full thyroid panel. So we're looking at TSH, which is your thyroid stimulating hormone. We should look at T4. We should look at T3. And we should look at thyroid antibodies. If you have an autoimmune thyroid problem, it's going to be addressed differently to a problem that's due to iodine deficiency alone. So this is why it's important to look at the bigger picture. Your vitamin D levels also need to be checked. Folate, B12, and ferritin, which is your body's ability to store iron, should also be checked, as should iodine. And there are some really simple checks that you can do in order to assess your iodine levels, but that might be a video for another time. So here's the thing. If your thyroid function is low, and believe you me, this is very, very, very common, then your health is going to be impaired in many different ways, and in particular with your immune function. So next time you're feeling sluggish and you just don't feel as well as you should, and you go and see your GP, then make sure that you mention that list of blood tests that I have recommended. It's really important to get the full picture so that you can address your problem in the most appropriate fashion going forwards. So I hope this has been helpful information, and I will get on and talk to you some more about thyroid function at some point in the future, but that's all we've got for today. So bye for now.